Well, earlier this year, Dr. Anthony Fauci praised Australia for being a world leader on containment and management of emerging variants. With about 181,600 cases of COVID-19 and more than 1,800 deaths throughout the entire pandemic, Australia's coronavirus numbers are among the lowest in the developed world. Comparatively, the U.S. has had more than 46 million cases and more than 750,000 deaths since the start of the pandemic. KIMT News 3's Annalise Johnson is speaking to a Rochester native who has lived in Australia throughout the pandemic. She joins us in studio. Annalise?
Katie, the woman I spoke with lives in Australia's more populated east, which recently loosened restrictions immensely. The west, which is less densely populated and has a lower vaccination rate, is expected to keep tight restrictions into 2022.
My parents, every time I talk to them, they're like, we miss you so much, but we are so glad you're there.
Rochester native Bridget Burke moved to Australia in August 2018 and now works as a barista. She lives in the Blue Mountains, about an hour outside central Sydney. Burke hasn't been home to the States since before the pandemic due to her new country's strict rules.
For us, I mean, there was definitely a lot more rules and they were definitely enforced here, whereas I know in the States there were requests made to not go out, but some people listened and some people didn't. Some people took it seriously, whereas here I think it doesn't matter if you believe that COVID is real, it's the law.
In March of 2020, Australia closed to non-residents, began enforcing quarantines and social distancing, and closed non-essential services. The country's lockdowns were largely successful until outbreaks of the Delta variant. But now Burke says life is mostly normal for vaccinated people.
As a double vaccinated person, I can do anything I want. I have to wear masks still, but that's fine.
Australia's nationwide vaccination program began in February, but didn't pick up speed until July after missing initial targets. Burke thinks that because lockdowns kept the country's COVID numbers so low, there wasn't an urgent push for the shots. She was able to complete her 2-dose series of the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is made in Australia, in September.
You can go in and you check in.
New South Wales uses an app where Burke can store her vaccine credentials to get into businesses and check in and out of locations. The government then uses that data for contact tracing.
I just hope that in the next pandemic, America will follow some of the footsteps of Australia and make hardline lockdowns quicker with better contact tracing, because we have some of the best contact tracing in the world.
Although Burke misses her family and friends stateside, she would rather live through the pandemic in Australia than in Minnesota.
I feel so much more appreciative of what I have because we were in lockdown and we were all as a community working towards safety. So for that, I feel really lucky.
Burke can leave Australia and return to Minnesota, but if she did, she wouldn't be able to get back into Australia because she's not a citizen or permanent resident. Until the country is more open for travel, she'll be staying put down under. Katie.
All right, thanks, Annalise. According to the Australian government's Department of Health, more than 80% of people 16 and up are fully vaccinated in the country. In the U.S., almost 80% of people 12 and up have had at least one shot.